Tusha.
Hi!
The lovely Tusha who has her Venus in Aries. She's a bright, beautiful soul, mermaid, fairy goddess. To hear from Tusha on her experience, her life perspective of having her Venus in Aries. So thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your story. And I would just like to go into some key aspects that are associated with Venus and Aries, and just kind of hear what you have to say about that, if that resonates with you or not.
Sure.
So typically people with Venuses and Aries are very independent in love. They need their independence when they're in a relationship. Otherwise, they can feel like they're being suffocated or controlled, especially if it's like with a partner who's very needy. And Aries is an energy that needs constant stimulation. So they like to have a partner who does spontaneous things with them, likes adventure, likes to play. And the Aries lover is a very playful lover. And one of the things that comes across with someone who has a Venus in Aries is that they can be all about me in a relationship. But I often feel like that selfishness that is always pinned towards the Aries energy is really more about self-care. And that Aries energy just knows how to take care of itself. And it speaks up for itself when it needs that time and when it needs to replenish, because it is such an active energy, it's such an active frequency that is always trying to be out there and help and be an active member of society. So it needs to take care of itself. But of course, in this society, self-care and self-love has kind of like this selfishness put onto it, you know, almost like a shame if you're taking care of yourself or you're doing something for yourself. So a Venus in Aries is not, it's not necessarily that it's all about me in the relationship. It's that you know that you need to take care of yourself to be an active member of that relationship, so that you're not feeling depleted or like you have nothing left to offer, basically. And the other thing about Venus Aries, they're very direct and very open and honest, and need that same level of honesty and openness in their partner. Otherwise, they feel like they can't be fully who they are and be appreciated for who they are. So what do you think? Like, what do you think about that as having a Venus?
I definitely agree with everything you just said. It is pretty on the money. I would say that I have grown into my Venus in Aries over the years. It definitely wasn't in my awareness. But as you were talking about this feeling of, I think you mentioned self-worth and self-care, that has been a personal journey for myself. And I recognize that, especially as I got into adulthood and in my 20s, all the way to now in my 40s, I see that very clear. I see very clear that this was all about the importance of self-love, you know, because I was, of course, in a cultural context and a societal context, as a woman on top of the culture, right? Or hand in hand, it's that feeling of always put yourself last or second, or you don't mean as much as others, you know, don't shine your light.
Yeah.
Be quiet and demure like a lady, you know, like all of that nonsense. So, and then if I reflect on all the life experiences that have popped up in my life, and it's not just relationships with a significant other, but relationships with people in general, they were all testing what it means to love myself. You know,
Mm.
can you stand up for yourself in this situation? Do you need to bring out your warrior self for here? Can you show others another way of talking to you? Do you not deserve to have respect? And I think that is absolutely what Aries is about, you know?
Wow.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I see it.
Cool. That's beautiful. I love that perspective. That's amazing. I love that you
Yes.
shared that. And so as a Venus in Aries, like what is your love language? Like what would you say your love language is? How you like to
Um, I'm definitely like physical
physical
affection
affection?
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wear my heart on my sleeve kind of person. I
Mm.
do I do observe first, and of course I have other signs in me, right? That Scorpio moon and the Pisces self that makes me a little shy or appears to be shy, but um generally, like, if I love someone, I'm just like full on love, you know? And I know this of the Aries, and I believe that's who I am as well. It's a very innocent love. It's like the love of a baby to their parent. You know, it's just like, I just love you. There's nothing complicated about it. It's just love, you know.
Oh,
Um,
I
and
love
I think
that.
that's that's where sometimes we get burned, you know, because we think everyone else is
Yeah.
experiencing love the same way,
Yes,
but they're not.
absolutely.
There's nuances and some manipulation and
Yeah.
baggage that's brought in, you know, and you're just saying, but I just love you. Can you not just love me? Like, it could just be that simple. So
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally relate to that too, as like having an Aries like sun, right? I can
mhm,
feel that energy. It's almost like and that's actually something I've noticed. I think I said to you earlier is that a lot of like women that I've come across like in doing astrology readings who have their Venuses in Aries, I
mhm,
noticed that a lot of them have had experiences and patterns where they attract like really toxic men into their life and actually no, actually not attract, they allow toxic men into their life. And um it's almost because that Aries Venus energy is kind of has like an innocence to it.
mhm,
And they're like you said, they're so about like loving and wanting to help others too. And so a lot of these women think that they can help these like wounded men. And I feel
mhm,
like that's true for like most women anyways. But for this Aries energy, it's almost like they get taken advantage of because they have that innocence and that willingness to just purely and openly and honestly like love and pour themselves into another. And
mhm.
like have you had like any experiences like that, or like do you relate to that at all?
um I definitely never sought wounded people, but I do know they seek me out on
Yeah.
a subconscious level, 100%. And I find out too late. This is when I'm already enamored for whatever reason in that relationship. Um, yes, so that is part of it for sure. Um, I would say that I don't know. I'm like thinking back about some certain people, and certain people I try to get away from, and I knew I could recognize their toxicity.
Mm,
However, um, it just felt like a pulling in despite it, you know, despite the warning signs.
right, right.
And and again, I'm going to address that was still, I was not fully aware of me yet. So I don't know if I would say that that would still happen today. I don't think so. I don't feel
Mm,
that now. But definitely in my 20s and 30s, there was this feeling of just trying to, the one common thread I noticed is that I'm so good at giving unconditional love that they lap it up, right? Because they've
mm,
never, certain people and who have been wounded have never received that. And
Right.
so that could be an addiction in a way, right? To see,
Right.
wow, this person loves me this much,
Yeah.
and then I am also like, well, yeah, of course you deserve it. You deserve to be loved, And then it turns into this bizarre codependency that I never even wanted to happen, and
Mm.
it ends up being like that because of this nature to be, yes, because it's almost like a mirroring effect, right? The
Right.
Aries energy is like, love yourself, and here I'm telling other person, love
Love
yourself.
yourself.
At the same time, I'm not loving myself by doing that for them.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a bizarre symbiosis that's happening when I reflect
Yeah.
on it now. Yeah, but that was, I believe that was a very common thread, especially the significant ones. I see it now. Like I was brought into their life because they didn't love themselves, and they desperately needed someone to say, you're
Mm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, I need to be like, well, that's not okay for me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay to say that and let them figure out that gift for themselves. It's
Mhm.
not my place to keep offering the gift that they can't see in themselves.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
doesn't
Exactly.
serve but
Exactly.
yeah, that is the Aries nature.
I love how you brought up the mirror like perspective. I think that's so powerful and so true, especially when it comes to relationships, because our relationships are mirrors. And so I just love how you said that the Aries Venus energies about like the self-love, yet you're mirroring to that other person that they need to love themselves.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge because I feel like oftentimes we're looking outside of ourselves or to our partner to fill like that hole inside of us instead of like trying to access it from
Right.
ourselves, right? And so yeah, that's huge.
And in the astrological wheel itself, I mean, Aries is that first house,
Yeah,
right? And it is about the self more than
yeah,
anything.
yeah, absolutely.
It surrounds that whole idea about your identity and
Yeah,
your worthiness and who you are. And so that plays a big part in relationships,
yeah,
at least this Venus energy, as I can speak
yeah.
to,
And like
yeah.
since you bring up like identity, because I love that because Aries being about the self is a lot about the discovery of like your identity and having like an Aries Venus, do you think that self identity starts to kind of wither away in a relationship, or do you feel like you're able to maintain it? Like,
Mm,
you know how some people kind of really meld into what their partner's needs are and what their partner wants, but they
right,
forget
right.
their own kind of needs and wants and their
Yes.
identity.
I think that depends on the relationship, of course. And predominantly for me, I remember feeling in the past. And again, I don't know, that's part of my Pisces nature too, along with the Aries that made me like this as well. Where yes, I can't help it but be immersed in their emotions. And I can say now it's really clear to me now how important it is for me to be conscious of who I let into my life,
Mm,
because um and I put even as much boundaries I put up and energetic what all that we do as spiritual people. When you're that close to someone in every way in a relationship, you can't help but take on some of that energy,
right.
and you would, at least I know now, I want someone to lift me up and
Hmm.
not have me be the one constantly lifting and then feel drained, like my cup is constantly empty because it's it's not going in that direction. So yeah. And again, this I everyone's journey is different. For me, it took many years and a lot of self-work to be able to say that
Mm,
in terms of what is important for me in relationships, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
because yeah, my in some of my significant ones, um, I realized like after I moved away from them, it's not mine, it was theirs. And I would not be able to know that had I not been or not had a significant distance to be able to process that.
Right,
You know,
right.
so
And
yeah,
no, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to mention that you mentioned how Aries are independent
Yeah, yeah.
in relationship. So that's something where I find very easy for myself. Once a relationship is ended, it's done for me.
That's
It's done.
awesome.
I mean, it'll take some time for me to process the pain, the hurt, and the disappointment. The
Yeah.
process will take time, whatever time that I don't know, depends on what the relationship meant to me. But am I going back? No, that
Well,
won't happen.
I
Like,
admire that. I really
it's
admire
not,
that.
it's not like, it's not like Scorpio revenge.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not that kind of, like, oh, I'm done and I'm like, I want bad things to happen to you. It's not that. But
No,
it's
you're
like literally
done.
like, this is it,
Yeah.
if you can't see my value, which is another Aries thing, right? And then there's nothing else to say. I wish you a wonderful time in your life. So
I
yeah.
love that. I love that energy. I really admire that, especially because like I have a Venus Taurus, and for us, it's
Uh-huh.
like really hard to to be done with
Right.
someone. So I like,
Because
I like,
you want to like hold on.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so
Yeah.
I totally admire that Venus Aries of just like that ability
Yeah.
to just be like, yep, we're accepting that it's over,
Yeah.
it's done, move on and carry on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very
Also, like,
empowering
it's
energy.
good, but then it's also like I'm way too comfortable being alone. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
it's I can go on for years and it'll be fine, it's
Yeah,
just because I'm very comfortable being able to find things that I enjoy to do on my own without others.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so
But
sure,
that's
great,
good.
yes.
That's good
But
too.
I should open the door once in a while. All right, you can come and join my ride. Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah.
Well, what does your independence mean to you? Like, what does that look like to you, whether you're, single or in a relationship?
Oh, the ability, the ability to pursue things that interest me, without feeling like I'm restricted in any way
Mm,
or looked down upon in any way because of things I like. Again, back to respect, right? Like, do you
yeah,
respect that I'm interested in doing that's separate from you?
right.
um what else? I like being able to have a variety of friendship circles,
Oh, okay.
because I believe that brings a lot into my life, people's different
Mm-hmm.
perspectives. I'm not just like, here's my relationship and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely honor that relationship and expect mutual loyalty and trust and commitment. So there's no roving eyes for me from me or from the other person. That's what I don't want that. But I would love for us to have separate people in our lives and people that we can talk about, experiences that we've had. So that's how I see independence, not just to be this immersed.
Yeah.
Some people like that, and that's okay. Some people are really content with, just they and their whatever, right?
Yeah.
So,
I love how you explained that. I think that's really beautiful the way you explained it. And like, do you know what the Venus signs were of like your past relationships? Like any of the men you had in your past?
the one that you know about
Yeah.
that one was a Taurus,
A Taurus? Okay.
Venus and Taurus. Yes, I have I have analyzed it. It was done. I was like, yes, okay. So the good, and I mean, and you are a Venus and Taurus, so not knocking the Venus and Taurus people. The good is that you guys are wonderful cuddle bugs. You're great huggers. That's probably one thing I absolutely loved, and you're very grounded and very warm and present. I love that. very just like earth.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if the earth is in an imbalance, which
Yeah.
is what I saw in my ex, then stagnancy
Yeah.
appears. And
Absolutely.
that's very difficult for an Aries Venus,
Yeah.
where I want to like move
Yeah.
forward. Let's action. Let's do something,
Yes.
and then there's just like
Absolutely.
plop, plop, it's like, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I also, you're making me think about some things now. I found myself in relationships, even like in that one and in other relationships, in situations, I'm usually the one who makes things happen because
Yeah.
I like to create memories. So if I think there's a concert that this person I could go to, I will have already booked the tickets and not worried about the money. Which is another Aries thing. We just do it. Because we were action people. We want to make stuff happen. There's no time to dilly-dally. Like life is passing by, right? So, and I'll do that often. And not just for like relationships or friendships, but I found over the years, it started to weigh on me because I don't want to be the person that always makes that decision. I don't know if it's because that feminine side of me is getting frustrated. As much as I like being assertive, I also like, surprise me once in a while. Why am I the one having to create things, like
all the time?
Yeah. Like any little things, like I'll buy the picnic basket so that we can have a picnic. Like why? So yeah, that's something I notice, or even like in groups of friendship circles, like I'll organize like let's all get together and this is gonna happen, blah blah blah. But now I decided I'm letting go. Since the 40s, I entered the 40s. I'm like, other people can take reign.
Nice.
When I'll do it. But if I say no, I say no. But I'm not creating things for people anymore.
Yeah. Too much. That it doesn't feel balanced, right?
It's not balanced. Yeah.
There needs to be like an equal pouring in and pouring out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess that Aries, like you want to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You want to like, but then you can know.
You want to sit and wait around.
Yeah.
Otherwise, really? What's funny? You bring that up because I actually did an experiment, a little experiment where, because I always like hear, Aries can be bossy or, like that energy of like the Aries is always initiating to get things
done. Yeah.
So I actually, because I'm in university and so we were doing online classes and we were put into breakout groups of like 4 people. And I actually said, you know what? Because I noticed every time that I got put into a breakout group, I was always the one initiating the conversation and getting us like going to what the teacher wanted us to talk about. And I was like, no, I'm going to do a test. I just said to myself, I'm not going to initiate this time. I'm going to wait for someone else. And guess what happened? It took 5 minutes for somebody to start talking. A whole 5 minutes.
Wow.
Like, wow. It blew my mind that no one stepped up.
Right.
Whereas I would definitely have been like, okay, guys, hey, what's up? Like, let's get going or whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything. I just waited for someone. It took 5 minutes for someone to talk. And
right.
Wow. So that Aries like initiation energy is needed. It's like the rebirth, right? It's the sprouting of creation. It's the it's the kick start to the whole wheel. And so if we don't initiate action, there won't be any.
No, exactly.
But I can understand like the frustration of having to always be, especially in a relationship, when you're always the one that has to initiate like action. It does get to be like, it actually kind of creates like a sense of, it's almost like you get bored or, this isn't exciting anymore because I'm always having to initiate. Like, I need you to create some excitement.
Right.
Especially for that Aries energy is like it wants that spontaneous, adventurous.
Yes.
Yeah, let's keep the fire going.
Right. Yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I love that you brought that up. Love
On
that.
the other hand, I have met the other side of that, the
Yeah.
opposite, where the men I've attracted have been like way too macho and
Oh,
very aggressive and
yeah.
all passion and overpowering, think they're right, that energy. And that's not good either,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's just like the
It makes
downfall of that
toxic,
energy.
right?
That is,
Yeah.
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 Which is, it's that, there's a flame going.
Yeah.
There's definitely a flame. But there's no like cooling down of that, there's
Right.
just um
Yeah.
yeah, like constant conflict and
Right.
anger towards you, and
Nah, that's not
that's
appealing.
not healthy either, right?
Yeah,
So
because it's coming from a toxic place, not a healthy place.
no.
Yeah. That's like toxic masculinity or
Yeah,
femininity or whatever, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
interesting. So like what based off of your experiences and what you know about astrology, what Venus signs do you think are the best match for a Venus Aries based off of your personal life experience?
I haven't really checked all my past relationships Venuses. I don't remember the birthdays, but I know like astrologically they should be fire
Yeah,
Venuses or air
for air.
Venuses, you know. Um, but I seem to attract a lot of Earth Venuses from what I remember.
Interesting.
Um, in men, I'm trying to think of anyone else. I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, from the ones I know, I've noticed the Libra ones are not really good for me.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the opposite, but
Yeah.
then there's this, I don't know, it doesn't seem like sometimes the opposite is a good thing, and it's not really a good thing. So,
What about
yeah,
Aquarius? Venus Aquarius.
I don't know if I've met anyone like that. That's the thing. I don't know. It's possible that could be good. It could be. I know my Mars is an Aquarius, so
Oh,
that might
Mars is
work.
in Aquarius. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Uh, that's why I track all kinds of different people. I know that.
Yeah.
They're never alike. There's not like one, not even
Always
the way they
different.
look, nothing. Yeah, all different. All different. So yeah, I don't know. I can't really say. Because I mean, as you know, astrology is like this big puzzle,
It is,
right?
yeah.
Puzzle pieces. It's not like, oh, because you're Venus and Aries, you
Yeah.
should sync up the Sagittarius and everything will be great. Like it doesn't work that
True.
way.
It's so true.
I think maybe the Earth Venuses were attracted to me because my Pisces,
Yeah,
or
probably.
they're grounding me or something,
Yeah,
or my
absolutely.
Scorpio moon. Like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So interesting.
yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any. I don't know all of theirs. I wish I did. This is what I should keep doing now. I don't care if you think I'm kooky. I'm like, no cards right now.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Well, one of the other questions is what it how do you experience intimacy as a Venus Aries? Like what's that like for you?
I'm definitely way too impulsive.
Okay.
Yeah, so I dive like, there's an attraction, and this is my, like, I intuitively know, I always know if it's just something there or not there. That's always been like clear for me. And if it's something there, and the minute we kiss, like it's all over for me then. And if it's a good kiss too, right?
Oh, okay.
And usually I know it's going to be good anyway because my intuition knows it's going to be something. Rarely it happens where you're like, oh no, this didn't work out the way I thought it would be in terms of the sparks. But that usually leads me into entanglements that I shouldn't be in, because I'm not thinking of the whole picture of the person. I'm just thinking of the passion, and the passion overwhelms me. And I'm just like, this must mean that we are compatible. Yeah, which is not a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, I think that's an Aries thing, because I know a lot of some friends who are like earth signs or um water signs, even though I'm a water sign, but who have like maybe Venus is in water or
Mhm.
earth, they're a little more reserved and they take their time in relationships and they observe the person, and
Yeah, it's true.
they go on many dates.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I know clearly this is going to be something or not,
Yeah. You're in or you're
and
out.
I know, yeah, exactly. And I know. And then so the frustrating part for me would be like the other person being too slow in catching on to that,
Ah,
because
yeah.
I again that directness that you were saying before,
Yeah.
so I'm clear about it. There's no like ambiguity. Um, I like you, or hey, like I might not say, but you can probably tell right away. Like
Yeah.
so it's pretty obvious. Yeah, and I find that there's a lot of reservation, especially from guys sometimes, they don't want to put all their cards on the table, whereas I
Right.
would.
Right.
And I would say, I'm trying to think if I should say it or not, because I know it's going to be on. I won't say the person, but there's only been like one person that's never been a relationship, but was definitely a significant experience in my life that will always cherish. And that person and I are on different paths, I know, but it's one of those situations where I've not completely cut it off, which is unusual for me.
Mm.
And I think it's because it still resides in a place of friendship, which
Oh,
has been very rare for me with men,
okay.
and I think
Yeah.
ultimately that experience helped me realize I really want that. I want a true friendship with someone. The passion, absolutely, but the foundation needs to be strong in terms of, can we still be friends? Like, are you a
Yeah.
real friend to me? Even if things ended, are you still a friend? And that I have not experienced with people in the past, except for that one person. And I think that's also my own growth, right? Because
Mhm.
that journey of the Aries and learning to develop that empowerment and stepping into the goddess, as I've been working on stepping into my goddess.
Yeah.
And so the more I stepped into that, and the time when I did, I met that person who saw me as a goddess. And so that became this like clear, like a beautiful, clear image of what I want to see back towards me, whereas the other people sort of were coming with more lack of worthiness issues, because I was too lack of worthiness,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
God's empowerment changed that. So
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, I think in intimacy, that's what it is. It's
Oh, sorry.
is that
Someone's
me?
calling
No.
me. You spoke the truth.
Yeah, oh gosh. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
beautiful. I love that. I love that perspective because like I think friendship within a relationship is so important. So
mhm.
yeah.
But I also need the fire.
Yeah.
Like, let's not get that right. Like,
Let's not forget. We need the fire, okay? We can't just be
yeah.
friends. Stop being
Yeah. It's gotta be all. It's gotta be all of it. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just like, just no. Why? What's the point? I
Yeah.
always think that. I always think that when people I'm like, this is what you want your life to be like. But okay, it's your choice, But like, I want, yeah,
Yeah.
we need to be compatible in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that perspective. Love that perspective. And what would you say you have learned most from your past relationships as Venus Aries?
Oh, I definitely know now at age 44, that first of all, I am so grateful that I have not pursued the societal approved life that I thought I was supposed to pursue. Nothing wrong with that. The whole, like, you go to university, college, you find someone, you get married, you have your 2.5 kids or whatever. You buy a house, you're into this societal way of living, all that, right? That's good. A lot of people do that. I feel like they're like the structure holders,
Yeah.
holding the structure of this world. And I thought that's what I was supposed to do too. And it took me a long time to realize that's actually not what I wanted. Why didn't I see that? And I think my last relationship was heading in that direction until it didn't. But it was also not fulfilling, and I probably wouldn't have been honest enough to admit that at that time. I would have gone through with it and thinking this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but I wouldn't be fully happy. And I know now I want someone who wants to go on an adventure with me, like the adventure of life.
Yeah.
And like see the world with me when we can, of course, after this pandemic. Right now, but yeah, like see the world with me. Still have that like that hominess and that comfort and feeling cherished and grounded at home, sure. But to also be able to pursue things that we're interested in, talk about all kinds of things that are exciting and innovative and philosophical. I want someone to be able to have dialogues with me that don't have to agree with me, but that it's respectful. Those are the people I really cherish. I see that now in some of the relationships I have at work, the friendships I have at work. And I see that I'm thinking, wow, I want a person like that in a relationship, but with that, the fire.
Yeah.
Because the assertive, macho, aggressive man being on their chest type of man is not what I want,
Yeah.
It's not what I want. And I don't want to create space for them anymore. Like I think I was holding space for those people way too long for longer than I needed to, just because I think in order to start and part of our own subconscious nature to be like, that's how men are. It's okay. Let it go, and now I'm just like, stop. Do you want the warrior to come out? Like, this is the warrior's here, So I've had years of being exposed to the warrior self, and I don't like to be that person, you know what I mean? Like, but it comes out when I need it, because I'm not staying quiet anymore. That's the other thing. My voice is out. It's not hidden and shadowed. And so I want someone to feel that kind of safety where it can be free. I ultimately want to be free with someone. That's commitment, loyalty, but free. Because I think some people think free means you're in a polyamorous relationship, which is, hey, cool, do your thing. That's not what I want. Right? I want the excitement and adventure and all that, but to be you and me,
Yeah.
And that's clear now. I would not have known that. I might have in my 20s just thought this is it. It's like some romance story I read when I was a kid and thinking, you just meet the guy and then you get married and there'll be a happily ever after and nothing ever bad will ever happen again. Right? I couldn't believe that. I know I'm not alone.
No, you're not alone.
That,
yeah.
And I could have easily fallen into that. And interesting, whoever is watching out for me, despite those painful experiences in my life, brought me to here where I'm self-realized, Sure, I still have a long way to go. It's not like, but I'm in a much better place in terms of clarity in what I want. Whereas I definitely did not know that in my 20s. I don't even think in my 30s,
Yeah.
So
that's
adventure
beautiful.
for sure.
That's beautiful. And yeah, you're not alone in that. I feel like that's a mentality or a mindset that we've all been fed from like young girls,
Right.
like through Disney movies and just like cultural expectations.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
goes back to self-worth, which is the key
Right.
component of Aries.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's part of the journey for us,
Yeah.
for people like us, I think, and I mean,
Absolutely.
I know for me specifically, I have my Chiron, my wounded healer in Aries as well. So the
Oh,
combination of that is very significant in my life. So
yeah.
I'm even more like aware of what it means to be truly accepted and valued and respected for who you
Mhm.
are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I do that for others. So when people don't do that to me, it's like,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah,
I see.
absolutely.
Right.
And that's that like self-worth piece that you mentioned is like in my healing journey through like my relationships, what I've discovered, I was always saying that I'm attracting like men who have addiction problems. I'm always attracting men who are abusive or
Mm,
whatever. And what I started to realize is that it wasn't that I was attracting them, it was that I was allowing them in.
mm,
Because I
mhm,
think, as women who especially have like a beautiful heart like you do and, want to be there and help, those type of men are like pulled
mhm,
to women like that, but it's up to us whether we're allowing them in or not. And that was a huge revelation for me, is that I was allowing, even though I was seeing this toxicity and my intuition was saying something to me, I was still allowing them in because I didn't see that self-worth, because I
mhm.
wasn't recognizing my worth, and I was thinking that was like what was acceptable for me.
Right.
And so I think like that Aries Venus energy in like standing strong and like
Mhm,
true in itself, with that ability to know its worth, is like really really powerful when you are come across like energies like that or frequencies like
mhm. Right.
that. Yeah, that's huge.
It's I see it as we're offering a different perspective of what women are like,
Mm,
that Aries energy. And I think it's not completely accepted yet, but we're getting there.
yeah.
The more of us that speak up about that side,
Mm,
I think it's starting to shift. It's already been shifting, the Me Too movement and all
yeah,
that stuff that, from way back from women's lib way back in the day,
yeah,
it's gone slowly, but still a way to go, still a way to go. And I hope more of us who deal with issues of self-worth will start healing themselves and start standing strongly, like you say, like the warrior goddess
mm,
that they are,
yeah,
because that's going to change a lot. It's going to
absolutely.
change things a lot. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I was going to say something else. I forgot. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. There's a purpose for each of us.
There
So,
is. And even that warrior, the archetype of the warrior gets so much like there's so much shame around it. And I think it's
mm,
because in society we've been fed like the more toxic, role of the warrior, not the true like divine role of the
right.
warrior, right?
Yes.
And like I feel like a lot of the things you described of having a Venus Aries is like more connected to that divine role of the warrior,
Mhm.
and it's like ability to protect and be there for the people, be there for you know protection and stuff like that. So I feel
Mhm.
like that gets overshadowed, and there's so much shame like around stepping into that kind of energy.
Right.
And especially like women who are like tapped into that energy, like having a Venus in Aries, like do you find that like some men are intimidated by that strength and that independence that you have?
I'm laughing because I still distinctly remember one guy I met many years ago who said that to me, that I am intimidating. And this was still, I would consider myself baby me, baby me when I was 33. And I thought, really? Because, and that person was everything that I would normally not be attracted to, and avoided, like the typical jock, macho, good looking, muscular kind of dude, and clearly confident. And he's saying that he's intimidated by me,
Wow.
And I thought, what is it that you see? I don't know. And I think it's that that part of me that's independent is kind of like, I don't really need you.
Yeah.
And so, but then I find that I end up being like a conquest for someone like that, right? Like,
Right.
can I get the intimidating girl? Like, yeah. So it used to kind of frustrate me when I heard that word, because it's almost like a put down.
Right.
It's not like you're intimidating, like, oh my gosh. It's like, there's a problem with you.
Right.
And really, it's actually, no, it's not me. It's you.
Yeah.
I'm okay here, but it's you and your insecurities that are having an issue. With the fact that I'm not falling all over you, because that's what you're hoping for, right? You're used to the girl who's like flirting with you nonstop, and and I'm not. I'm also the type that, as I've mentioned before, like after a breakup or something, I can go on for months or years or whatever and be content with that. I've never been the type that just jumps into the next relationship. It just doesn't work for me. But I know some people, that's what they need and that's what they do, and that's okay. But I'm okay with that. And I think that kind of throws people, or some guys, I guess, off, because they're like, why does she not want a relationship? Or why does she not want to be with anyone right now? That's intimidating, right? You're like, oh, I think that's what it is. I think, that sort of self-sufficiency is like,
absolutely
uncomfortable for people.
And I feel like that really speaks to how programmed, the consciousness we have in this society, that, a woman who is comfortable with herself and is confident and enjoys and celebrates her independence is something to be, looked down upon.
Right.
Or what's wrong with you? You're not in a relationship. You're not married. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I find that, so I mean, I post all kinds of funny things from my students on my social media. And I really think it's cute, but at the same time, like, interesting, because they all, even now, no matter what class I have, there's always a couple of them who are like, why aren't you married yet, mademoiselle? There has to be someone out there for you. You should have a boyfriend. Like, it really bothers them,
Yeah.
And it's like, because they're part of that fairy tale that's been ingrained in them already. They think that I must be miserable, or like, they just can't understand like how I could be okay with this. So like, and it's not to say that I don't want to be with someone, of course, I'm still hoping that partner's out there, sure, absolutely, but it's not like on my top 10 list of things that I have to do, so I will always keep the faith, and I know intuitively, I sense that will happen when it's supposed to happen. But in the meantime, I'm still going to enjoy my life, And I'm going to say I could say this now. You talked to me when I was in my 30s, I would not have been the same. I was definitely woe is me, victim. How can this keep happening? Aren't I a good person? Haven't I done all the good things? Shouldn't I be married? I was like literally Charlotte from Sex and the City. I don't remember what I don't know if you remember, this scene is always clear in my mind. She's just like, I don't know, she went after some date, and then she's so upset it didn't work out. And she was crying on the kitchen table, on the cafe table, to everyone else, and saying, where is he? Where is he? right? I've been waiting for how many years? We've been dating since I was like 16 or whatever she was saying. I can't remember the exact quote, but I was like, that used to be how I felt, you know?
Right.
Where is he? But now I'm like, okay. Like, but it definitely took a long time to get to this. It took a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
I'm not the same person I was back then. Absolutely not, you know?
Wow.
I only wish I could tell my 20-something-year-old self who's like crying, like, don't worry about it. You actually don't need all this. But I had to experience that, right?
Yeah.
To get here.
Beautiful. What would you say to your 20 or 30-year-old self from where you are now?
Oh, what would I say? um, that it's okay to be who you are,
Mm,
not to let anyone take your spark away from you.
that's beautiful.
And I know it's so cliched, but the whole trust your intuition.
Mm, that's huge. That's
How
actually
many
beautiful.
times? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, how many times have I ignored it?
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's because it's the Aries thing again. The passion is so overwhelming that I forget the intuition. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, I
It's
just
so
want to be in the
true.
passionate moment, and
Yeah.
even the intuition was like, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, after you're like, why? I just hurt myself. Nothing. Um, yeah,
I love
but
that.
it's good and bad. Like, you know, like it's the journey of life. There's been like some awesome experiences and some not so great ones. I hope I can say this without crying. This is like, I think always something very clear when I see it. And I think I saw it in a breath working class or meditation. I can't remember what, but when I was in my last significant relationship, knowing things were falling apart, but I hadn't officially fallen apart yet, but I knew something was going somewhere and I just didn't understand what was happening. And I was crying in the middle of the night saying, what is going on? Why is this happening? Help me.
Mm.
Like to the universe, like help me understand. I don't know what's happening here. And I had a vision like now in that meditation, like a few years later, looking back on that moment, has my higher self coming and holding me and basically saying you're going to become this person. And it was me helping myself, and I just did not see it. It
Wow.
was my own self coming in.
That's
So
beautiful.
to know that your highest guide has always been you is like, it's a real revelation.
That's so beautiful.
Great, I'm crying.
Okay, crying's good. Crying's good.
And no waterproof mascara. I
That's
remind
really
everyone I'm a
beautiful.
Pisces. It's a
Yes.
Pisces thing with a Scorpio moon.
Yes. There's absolutely no
So,
issue with crying.
yeah, that's how I see it.
Really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think that's so huge for people to hear that. Like,
It's in
especially,
those lost moments when you think there's no one there for you, it's really
yeah,
you. It's
yeah,
really you. It's you all along. You
yeah,
just can't
yeah,
you can't see it yet. It's too
yeah.
cloudy.
That's such a beautiful perspective to hear, especially now with, like, I feel with this whole COVID situation, a lot of people are feeling like loneliness, and for them to hear that piece that you just shared is huge. It's huge. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And I just want to ask you two more questions.
Yes, go ahead.
And so let's go with, what do you think the Aries Venus brings to a relationship?
Oh, I definitely feel that we bring that go-getter energy, that fire energy, that you can do it energy. Like I find myself often empowering others around me when I realize it's always like a message back for me.
Yeah.
But it's like in my nature to like lift someone up if they're feeling like they can't do it. So yeah, it's definitely this energy of empowerment that we bring to others, you know. And in the relationship, you know, there's this feeling of power, of being courageous. And for me specifically, courageous means emotionally courageous. You know, not the courage to be able to jump off a cliff. You know, like that's not what I mean. That's not something even I could do. Not it's the real, like, you know, the heart courage, you know, which I think is actually more difficult than anything. And a lot of people don't want to go there.
I totally agree. Yeah.
You know, and I think also honesty. I expect honesty from people. And I find that I've always, especially with men, I can't help, especially when things don't go well, or I don't, whatever the situation is, I'm demanding that. Like, just be clear. None of this wishy-washy nonsense. Just be clear, you know, because I would do that for you, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't say like, I don't know, whatever it is, I want to be clear with that person. If we're dating, like we're dating. If we're not, then we're not. Like, doesn't need to get complicated, you know?
Yeah.
And I used to see myself, as I was saying before, as the victim in situations. But now when I look back and all this like self-analysis and self-work, I know that it's a two-way street. And all of those men that have encountered me, it wasn't just them affecting me. I know I affected them. And I don't think I could have said that before, but I know there was something that they gained from me, whether it's like be a more honest person, have more compassion, show me your integrity, whatever it is. It's something that I know now I imparted on them. Whether or not they took that lesson, I don't know, but that was definitely an exchange.
Yeah.
And as opposed to that, you know how a lot of people think it's just all on you. When it's not really. There's a two-way street. There's always a two-way street, you know? Yeah.
Always. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that too. And the last question is there anything important you wish to share from your perspective of an Aries Venus for other Aries Venuses out there?
That's a hard thing to say because the whole matrix of the chart is so complicated, right? That's the thing. You understand this because we're astrology people, right? But because I could say what Venus and Aries means for me, but someone else in their chart could be slightly off and different. I guess one common thread, I think, would be warrior. Like that's like the warrior. We're the warrior of the zodiac. We're the warrior in love, you know, in relationships,
I love that.
in friendships, in authority. I'm just laughing at how many times I've had to speak up against authority. You know, a lot of people don't expect it of me. They think quiet Tusha would never do that, especially my careers. But it would always come up when I sense things are not going well, you know? So the warrior energy will come out, you know? The warrior energy will be like, stop. This is not right. I'm going to say my piece now. It's going to be difficult for me, but I have to say it. And that is ultimately, I think, our role as a Venus Aries.
That's amazing. I love that. Like, I love that. Warrior of love. I think that's what I have to call the video. That's so awesome.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Self-love first though, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. Like,
You're
this was a great conversation. I loved everything you shared. You had so much beautiful like insight of your life and your experiences. And I really feel like it's gonna help a lot of people who listen to this. And I'm sure so many people can relate to a lot of the things that you shared. So thank you. I'm so
Thank you,
grateful
lady.
for doing this.
Thank you for asking me. This has been really fun. So,
It's really fun, actually.
and I enjoy talking to you. It's been so long. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tusha, warrior of love goddess. That's amazing. Thank
Aw.
you.